Hey guys, how's it going? I'm the Duke of Italy, your favorite lo-fi, glitchy music YouTuber who likes to talk about Blade. And today, happy birthday to one of my greatest friends who ever lived. One Mr. Funny, the little man with the littlest of plans. And today, since it is his birthday, I think, when I'm uploading this video, but I might be wrong because I'm wrong frequently about a lot of things, we're going to be briefly talking about Astra by the band Asia. And it's an album that he likes. Don't get mad at me. It is what Andy likes. Now, if you don't know, Andy is a good friend of mine. He shows up on the Minecraft series. He shows up in a lot of my videos. He's an actor, a director, a writer, the current editor of my short film that we've been working on for a while now, and I wanted to show my appreciation by making this video for him because he's had some videos for me, some wonderful videos. I enjoy those, but more importantly, this is an important character in my life. It's someone who just comes in and reminds me of all these terrible things, these terrible bits we have with each other, and he's excellent with Dungeons and Dragons. But Asia by Astra. But Astra by Asia. So, if you don't know, Asia is a supergroup. I say that so loosely. Basically, let's say you're a fan of 1970s prog, right? Which, if you're a fan of prog, you're probably a fan of 1970s prog. If you're a fan of like other prog over 1970s prog, I don't even know what to explain. Like a lot of prog fans are fans of other prog, including 1970s prog, but no one is the other way around. Seriously, no one thinks Wobbler is better than Yes. No one thinks like Marillion is better than Genesis. Tool is like one of the only bands in the modern era that is like actually worth listening to that's like prog. And if they are prog in the modern era and they're good, it's because they pull away from the origins like so much. And no, I'm not talking about Dream Theater. If you like Dream Theater, shut up. But more importantly, Asia. So, in Asia, you've got Carl Palmer from many bands, but most importantly, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the like avant-garde prog supergroup of their own in a way, whose vocalist was originally Greg Lake from the first King Crimson record, and also the second King Crimson album he was on. But speaking of King Crimson, you've got a much better King Crimson vocalist, John Wetton, who did albums Lark's Tongues and Aspic and Red and the one in between them, Starless and Bible Black, but no one really cares that much about that one. My favorite band, King Crimson, with my favorite album, Red, and he stopped being in King Crimson, and in the 80s he decided, you know what, I see King Crimson about to reform and make Discipline a strong contender for another great album of theirs, so why don't I just go with Carl Palmer and make some not prog at all. And he's like, you know what? Who else would be to join than King Goblin himself, Steve Howe from Yes. I love Yes. Close to the Edge is my favorite album of all time. And Steve Howe is a great guitarist. So, I mean, a great addition. And who else but the other guy from Yes at the time, the keyboardist of Yes for their album Drama. Watch the Todd and the Shadows video on Video Killed a Radio Star by the Buggles, because I don't want to explain the lore. Since I pulled the lore from that video for this man here, I really don't want to spoil any of that super juicy lore because it's honestly hilarious. But Asia's formed. They have that groundbreaking. They have that pop album that is their debut, Asia, with the song Heat of the Moment. You know, it's a big hit. It got over 100 million listens total, and counting in the modern day. And it's a great song. It's a very fun song. It's a pop song. It's loud. And it's good. And then Asia has the album Alpha. And then you got Astra, their third album. And there's some things about it. First of all the original members of Asia are here except for Steve Howe. Steve Howe left for whatever reason. I don't know if he went back to Yes, but I don't think he did for a little bit. Unless he went back for 90125, which he went and made Owner of a Lonely Heart, which was admittedly better pop music than Asia. But before we can rag on Asia, because I can, let's talk about some positives. The members are all great. The album covers for most of these are pretty cool. Up until the 2000s, no one really wants to see that. I certainly don't. It's like they looked at Dream Theater and they're like, hey, we could do that too. I don't know why anyone would listen to Dream Theater and be like, wow, I could be like that. That sounds honestly like not the right frame of mind for anyone or anything. And also, this album's got some good poppy little tunes here. The first several songs are solid. There's a song towards the end here that's pretty good. Royal Philharmonic Orchestra shows up for a song, one of the least good songs here. The drums are super loud. This whole album sounds like it's recorded live, which is weird because I know it wasn't. It's a studio recording. John Wetton said that this is his favorite Asia album. So, Andy, you got something in common with John Wetton. And he was on 3 King Crimson albums. So, that's pretty good company to be with. Unfortunately, for both of you, I don't really understand that perspective, honestly. Here's the thing about Astra. Take a look at this track list. I'm about to make it better. Bam. Just made it a lot better by like cutting out like half of it. But there are some cool stuff here. On the song Suspicion, you got some cool synthesizers. I like those synthesizers. They sound pretty cool. John Wetton's vocals are normally solid, provided I can hear them. These songs get crazy loud. They're not really compressed. In fact, this is probably like an early victim of the loudness war or something, because this is one of the loudest albums I've ever heard. Like, it's so loud. Like, I can't even hear myself think as I hear the same chorus over and over. Like on Suspicion, which is just the word suspicion. But the opening song, Go, is like kind of fun. It's like pretty in your face. It's like you can jive to it. After the War is a pretty good song. The builds on that song are pretty good. A lot of these songs sound like Super Mario 64 songs. Love Now Till Eternity sounds like Peach Castle. Wishing sounds like Dire Dire Docks. Cool. But actually, I have a little gift for Mr. Funny today. A Topsters chart. Who doesn't love these? So as you can see on this chart, I got some recommendations, some album recommendations, and I'm going to talk about these out of order. First, I want to mention the one directly in the middle, Star Castle's Fountains of Light. This is a prog album from America, late 70s. I don't love this album. This is my least favorite album on this list here, but Andy, I think you might like it. A lot of really bright synthesizers, really hooky stuff, super like bright electric light orchestra type feel here, except I think it's a little cheesier, but I think the instrumentals are like super solid. And to the left of it, Asia's self-titled record, Steve Howe's guitar playing is so good. Dude, it's so good. And to the right of that, and to the top right of that, of course, you've got Relayer by Yes and Fragile by Yes. I recommend Fragile by Yes. Of course, you know the infamous JoJo's Bizarre Adventure song, Roundabout, which of course is the only song that is on that album. It's a 1-song album that's about 7.5 minutes long. And then you've got Relayer on the right there. If you look in the back of that album cover, there's a snake, which is like the only creature on a Yes album, in between like the Yes album and like Going for the One, which is in like 80s or something. I don't really remember. But Relay is a great album. It's a lot like my favorite album, Close to the Edge, except it's a bit more guitar-oriented, a little bit more hard-hitting, a little bit more acoustic guitar stuff, a bit more avant-garde pieces. It's almost like a companion piece to Close to the Edge, which is it's another great album, but I would listen to this after Fragile. And if you like Fragile enough, you could like this album too. And then the bottom left and very bottom, you've got Moving Pictures by Rush, which I reviewed for my dad over a year and a half ago at this point. Great album, got Tom Sawyer. If you want synthesizer stuff that's like really simple yet really good, you got seriously some of the best synthesizer textures in the game, because Geddy Lee, let's talk about him for a second. Bass slapping magician, great vocals, and he was just like one-handed playing, just hammer-ons and holding the synth line like a beast. I can barely even play his songs with both hands. And then of course the bottom, you got Farewell to Kings, My personal favorite Rush album, up there with Hemispheres. Hemispheres might be better, but I mean, Farewell to Kings is just one I've digested more. Great songs, Closer to the Heart. Who doesn't love it? Cygnus X1, another great song. And of course, go through a whole bunch of Rush material, because Rush is a great band, and none of the members were pulled from Rush into Asia because they were from Canada. And as much as I hate to say it, I think Canada's a better country than England. But what's better than them both? The United States, of course. Up the top, in the top left, we got Kansas with their two most popular albums. You got Left Overture with the hit Carry On My Wayward Son, and you got Point of No Return with the hit Dust in the Wind. Forgot what it was called for a second. But Point of No Return's got some bangers other than that. Lightning Hand is super fun. The opener, Point of No Return, How Long? Great song. Great song. That hook is still in my head, even though I haven't listened to that album in like over a year. And of course, Left Overture is great, except for like Cheyenne anthems. The synthesizers sound like super bad. But what's cool about this album is pretty much everything else. Every member on this album is super talented. Carry On My Wayward Son opens the whole thing. But then you got Miracles Out of Nowhere, probably my favorite Kansas song. It's just love and miracles out of nowhere. And then you got that awesome like keyboard breakdown. The ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, bum, ba-da-dum. It's a jam basically. You gotta listen to that song. And then at the bottom right, I couldn't think of another album to add, so I added Meliora by Ghost. It's like a pop metal album, I guess. Like basically, like imagine. Well, Ghost has been rattled for being Scooby-Doo music, and I rattled them because their new album is freaking garbage. But Meliora is really great. The opening song, Spirit, one of the best choruses of all time. Cerise, such a banger, really, really heavy song for Ghost, especially in mid-period Ghost, because, they definitely turn poppy, especially for Prequel. I recommend Prequel as well. It's another very solid album and one that I own. But Meliora is great, you got From the Pinnacle to the Pit. I think that's on Meliora. But Spirit is a great song. Mummy Dust, which is kind of cheesy until you get the huge choral like lift-offs like in the middle of the track. Bunch of bangers on that album. Album's chock full of bangers, full of good songs, good guitars, and there's some drumming on there too. But that's me talking about Astra for a couple minutes, and then talking about some albums that I like more. So happy birthday. Yeah. That's about it. Bye.